Okay. So Grand Rising, today I'm going to be talking about, it'll be the third part to the Covert Emotional Incest and BPD. We are going to show you an example of an emotional rapist within the media. Right now, the biggest argument out there is that Amber Heard is the bad guy. She is not. She is Johnny Depp's karma. Johnny Depp has been doing this for years. And one thing that everyone should know about covert narcissism, okay, covert narcissism, the narcissist treats people based on how the narcissist treats a person is based on their virginity, how virginal they are to them, how sweet they are. So if the abuser sees his victim as a piece of trash, he will treat them like a piece of trash. But he'll first make sure that he reels them in, and then he'll flip that script on them. What is that girl's last name? So, that is why so many people view him differently. But there are telltale signs within the history of his dating habits that show that he is, in fact, an emotional rapist. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that. We're going to do that right now. You can get it, but you need to be quiet when you come in here while I'm recording, okay? I'm recording.
Okay.
Go on. So, one of the things that I noticed, the first thing that I noticed before I even really got into looking at all of the people he's dated, the first person I looked at was Winona Ryder. Because, hey, what is it? One of the first people I looked at was Winona Ryder, because she had been accused of theft, which is a risk-taking action. And I know it was several years later, but what I've displayed in the second video of mine was how it can be a long-lasting effect on your psyche. So I went ahead and I looked into her, and the third article that came up says Winona Ryder says she checked into a psychiatric ward after her split with Johnny Depp. Yet she says he was never violent to her, and et cetera. He'll always be in my heart. He was my first everything. This is it right there. No, he was not physically violent. He was emotionally violent, and she didn't realize it. And especially for her, she wouldn't realize it because she was only 17 years old when she dated him. And she left her family. She left her family in order to live with Johnny Depp. So an example of that is right here in the article, where a man can chase after a woman by setting the stage for her her susceptibility by creating circumstances so that she feels completely helpless and surrenders. So at 17, she was probably pursued by Johnny in a way in which maybe her parents disagreed, something where, because he was 25 years old, 25, 26 years old. He was almost a decade older than her. So I'm sure that somebody around her disagreed. And so her only option was to go move in with him. Now she's all his. So that's a speculation, Winona Ryder, hope you watch this. Hope you determine, to tell the truth about what happened to you, because It's hard. It doesn't necessarily mean you didn't tell the truth. You just didn't understand it. For me, my child's father would say that I could come to his house and do laundry. And we would be together for hours, because what was actually happening is that he was continuing to badger me for head. And I would just put it off. Sometimes I would even fall asleep. Okay. But I wasn't going to leave that house until I gave him head. And so, instead of looking at it as it was, which was I was being emotionally and physically assaulted, I would just tell everybody, oh man, he really likes me and we're really getting along really well. But we weren't. But it's a level of programming that has been done to you so that you will not speak on it, that you will look at it as flattery. He really enjoys this aspect of me. So as I speak on some of these women, I'm going to spend a little more time on Winona, just because she admitted this. And not only that, she was young. She was very young. So already there's a difference in the power dynamic just in age, because he knows so much. It makes her fascinated and infatuated with him. So here is what she says, what they said. They said Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder were madly in love at one point. Depp was so sure that Ryder was the one that he got the words Winona Forever tattooed on his bicep. And even though the Tim Burton actors were engaged and lived together for years, Ryder wasn't getting what she needed out of the relationship anymore. As much as it killed the Stranger Things actor, she needed to break things off with Depp. The tough decision to call it quits led to severe heartbreak on both ends. And unfortunately, Ryder claimed she was experiencing so much depression at the time that she needed to check herself into a psychiatric ward. According to Depp, he fell in love with Ryder the moment he saw her. So the Disney effect, we don't talk, I don't think we talk about it enough, but love at first sight really, it can be a thing, but, I've had a lot of those instances, where my daughter's dad would say the same thing. He wouldn't say he loved me, but he did things to show me that he was really into me. Like, he saved the receipt from the day that we met. He was just enamored. He hasn't met someone like me in years. He hasn't liked anyone. Oh, he'd bring his friends around, his friends talking about he hasn't liked anybody in years. They knew what the fuck they were doing. This was their spiel, okay? So, Aaron's dad said the same shit. Now, he said he loved me. African man, we know who we love, okay? We love hard, and you are a beautiful woman. I fell in love. Look at you, you're so flashy. This is how they started off. From the moment they saw us, they were in love. They were enamored. He compares their first interaction like something straight out of the West Side Story. When Depp and Ryder first met, the Heathers star was getting a Coke. Depp gazed at her from a distance and everything changed for the actor. It was a classic glance, he says, like the zoom lenses in West Side Story and everything else gets foggy. Look how he speaks on her. So grandiose. You know what I'm saying? So, no more than 5 months later, Depp got on one knee, promising his life to the young starlet. Gonna reference the Man of the Hour here because I actually watched one of his videos and he was talking about why do women think there's a timeline. And the reason that women think there's a timeline to how relationships go is how we've been programmed. All Disney movies, it's love at first sight. And then you have scenarios like this where it's like a love story and he knew he wanted to be with her after the first moment. So it creates these standards and these timelines of how quickly you should be in love. Well, Johnny Depp knew that he wanted to marry her within 5 months. So there is no reason you don't know if you want to marry me yet at 6. You see that? Because it's there is no winning comparison. That is it is wrong. I'm not going to disagree that it is wrong for us to have a timeline. But what this timeline is coming from, it's coming from men like this who woo their women extra quick. The only reason they're wooing these women extra quick is to abuse them. And on the outside looking in, nobody knows that's going on, right? So now all they know is that they have not been chosen, and it's a projection on both ends, because one, they'll say that you're just trying to waste their time because you did not move as quickly as this man. And then they'll also project upon themselves that they are not worthy and there must be something wrong with them because nobody is wanting to be with them within 5 months. It causes a whole lot of issues for society when one man is running around emotionally raping a whole bunch of women, because that's literally how they do it. Aaron's dad, within 2 months, said he wanted to marry me, and it was just like a dream come true because I couldn't even get a boyfriend. So the minute somebody says they want to marry me, like, of course you're gonna. And I won't say the minute you, because I had actually been proposed to when I was like 18 years old. Yes. Okay, I see. But I've always been authentic to myself. And the reason that I turned it down is because he was in the military. And literally his only reason for wanting to marry me was because he was in the military and he would get more money. He didn't even know me. You know what I'm saying? But this time it was a little bit different, because at this point it's like, after that was at 18, now at 28, and being rejected and emotionally abused for that whole decade. Literally that whole decade, because shortly after that, I got pregnant with my oldest son. And then my daughter at this time, when I met Aaron's dad, was like 3 or 4 years old. So I had been experiencing just complete discardment for a decade. So now when somebody comes and they're doing the same thing, it didn't register that I was being used. It was just like, finally, somebody is really actually interested in me. He does know that he wants me, because it's really quick. This is where it comes from. Rushing into a relationship is a form of emotional rape. So the two began living together, and Ryder has recently stated that Depp was like family to her. So he is fully equipped with the knowledge of the words to use, and acts charismatically to manipulate the survivor into a relationship. And she gets turned on even before she could figure out what is happening. And now she is ready to do anything for this Prince Charming. Now I keep going back and reading parts of the emotional rape article. But it's important because she left her family and he decided to be her family. For several years, they were inseparable. And for a long time, it seemed as though nothing could get in the way of their courtship. When you are inseparable with your partner, that in itself causes depression, because they are actually siphoning your personality and your life. You should be able to live separate lives, but couple, right? So at the end of the day, you both come home together. A couple times a week you go out and you do things together. It does not mean that you are supposed to be inseparable and with each other every single moment of the day. That's not normal. And it even says, they I missed that part. Where's that part at? I must have skipped past it. I missed it. I don't know. There was somewhere where it even displayed, it talked about everything that they used to do together, right? Doesn't even fucking matter. At the end of the day, if And it was easy for him to become all consuming in her life because she was young. She was 17 years old. She had no grip on life whatsoever. So for her, this is the dream relationship. Because at 17, you don't know what you're supposed to be experiencing in a relationship anyway. You don't know that you're not supposed to be with your boyfriend every day, all the time. So Ryder tells the New York Times that she hit bottom at age 20, the same year that she broke off her engagement. Excuse me. On top of her split, she dealt with insomnia and anxiety attacks and depression. The Beetlejuice actor felt as though she was overworked, and all of the pressure of Hollywood was finally getting in the way of that in a way that it never had before. And you do project these issues onto other things in your life because there's no way it could possibly be the father of your child, your fiance that just thinks you're the bee's knees. Like, there's no way it could be that. So you do transfer. I'm having trouble with my camera today. It's on the little thing, but I'm on the bed. So since I'm on the bed, it's not as stable. And then my legs is falling asleep. So now I'm trying to find a way to get comfortable and continue having this great discussion. So anyway, for me, I had many reasons as to why I would be depressed. One of them was, especially with my oldest son, I worked 3 jobs at one point. All work, no play makes Johnny a dull boy. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was the only reason why I was just so depressed, when in fact, it was the fact that his father that was literally it. Work him. I wasn't allowed to go nowhere. Every time I went somewhere, it was an argument. And sometimes I'd have to risk having an argument. Then I would start lying about where I was at and what I was doing because he was so possessive and not allowing me to do stuff. And then, that turns into, you're a liar. And it's like, well, I only lied because the last time I went over there, you cussed me out and there's nothing going on. It's my cousin's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where I just stopped going to my cousin's house. There was a 2-year time frame when I was dealing with my son's dad that I did not talk to anyone in my family. But anyway, so when you think about what was actually going on behind the scenes, they themselves are feeding themselves the deception. They don't realize it. And at 17, you wouldn't know that all these things were bad for you. What? A 17-year-old would not know any of that. They wouldn't know that they're not supposed to be just going to work and hanging out with her boyfriend all day. Like, they don't know that. So when he's sitting there and siphoning her energy, she wouldn't have any other thing to blame it on but work. I don't know if she ever got in an argument about saying, hey, I think I'm going to go over to the bookstore by myself. And then they get in an argument because he's like, why are you going by yourself? I don't know if any of those arguments happened, but there's no way that they didn't. Because a normal person would want to do some things by themselves. And it distinctly mentions their inseparability. And there was another, I don't know, it must have been another article where it described the things that they would do on a day-to-day. So after a while, you submit. You don't want to argue with that person about that stuff. So I don't know how he made her submit to that. But it would have been something of an emotional abuse to do it. So as you're getting emotionally battered and your life is now becoming his life, that would cause depression. She mentions that she experienced insomnia. I can say with my oldest child's father, I experienced insomnia. I didn't with my daughter's dad, but really this happens when you live with someone who's narcissistic. And who likes to party and do certain things because they're always going to be up in the middle of the night. My son's dad, he was one that did not go to sleep before 4 o'clock in the morning. And he would do things. He was very disruptive. He would record music. There was one time when we lived together, he was in a metal band, and he would literally record his metal music at 2 a.m. Are you kidding me? And then he went on to have a rap group, and he would record in the middle of the night. And of course, with the bass and all that stuff, he would be just bumping at 2 a.m. and I got to go to work. Another thing that he would do all the time is he would argue with me in the middle of the night. So one time he woke me up in the middle of the night and he said something. He didn't wake me up. When you talk to someone in their dream state, like while they're dreaming, the person will literally deposit themselves into your dream and you answer them as if they are part of the dream, and then they wake you up. So whatever I answered upset him, and he argued with me until I had to go to work. And so after a while of doing this behavior, if they do this over and over and over again, what it actually causes is for you not to sleep, because you just know you're not going to sleep anyway. But again, if it's very subtle things that they're doing to disturb your sleep, you're not going to know that this is abuse. So for a long time, even after he and I split up, I had trouble sleeping. I still do sometimes, but they kind of like train you to be sleep deprived. So New York Times wrote on her experience in the psychiatric ward. It says, her brief stay in the psychiatric ward when she was 20 is still a vivid memory. I was overworked and overtired, too tired to sleep, she recalls. I was in a really bad state. The insomnia, the anxiety attacks she had been suffering on and off for years had become paralyzing. At the tail end of a long, difficult parting with her first serious boyfriend, she had left home to move in with Mr. Depp when she was 17. She hit a bottom, she says, and checked herself into a hospital. She signed herself out a week later, feeling that she had not been helped. And the reason that she had not been helped is because she didn't properly identify the cause of her issues. She identified it as work and not as an issue with Mr. Depp. Therefore, she would have never resolved that problem. And I wish I could show y'all the picture. She looks absolutely gorgeous in this picture. Just saying. Oh my gosh, she's a cutie pie. She's definitely someone that I always found to be beautiful. And so it's no wonder that someone would come and try to steal from that. Try to make it theirs forever. When I met Johnny, I was a pure virgin. He changed that. He was my first everything, my first real kiss, my first real boyfriend, my first fiance, the first guy I had sex with. So he'll always be in my heart forever. The thing is that he stole all of that. From what I see of Johnny Depp with Amber Heard, from what I hear in this article, he manipulated her into giving her everything. But then she goes on to say that the eccentric pair had an inseparable bond during the 4 years of their courtship. The two admitted that they'd spent all day together and had a shared connection unlike any other. There is a sense of gratification which she has never felt before in her life, is what the emotional rape article says. So she had a shared connection unlike any other. This is right. It's right here in black and white by the cheatsheet.com. This is their article that I'm reading. I forgot to mention it. Now, because she was so pure, I forgot what I was saying. I zoned out because I'm going to read the next part of the article. But it says, meanwhile, Ryder wasn't breezing through the split. In fact, she became severely depressed and drank all day long while listening to sad music. According to the Mirror, she was prescribed sleeping pills after being diagnosed with anticipatory nostalgia. Listen, what did I say? In part 2, I say that I was still heavily in love with my first child's father, and therefore I had extreme nostalgia. This is a part of it. This is it right here. And she stood up against Amber Heard in allegations. I can only speak from my own experience, which was wildly different than what is being said. He was never that way towards me, never abusive at all towards me. I only know him as really good, loving, caring guy who is very, very protective of the people that he loves. You know how like they call, women who are assertive, bitchy? Here is where controlling men are called protective. That is the word that we use when describing a man who is controlling and likely, I'm just trying to protect you, babe. You don't need to be out there with all them folks. You just need, yeah. That's what that was. As I said before, he was violent emotionally. This is literally right out the freaking article. I mean, her words are literally out of the freaking article. She feels safe and cherished. There's a sense of gratification which she has never felt before in her life. To the point that this woman has still experienced depression and issues surrounding this relationship. She said something, and she had an article in 2016 that she had mentioned something. These women. So now we're going to move on from her. I spent the most time on her just because, one, it's quite a... What?
Have you seen Spidey yet?
I have not seen Spidey.
Where is he? I was looking for him. He was just right here.
Hold on, I just saw something. So, sorry, I got distracted by a completely different article. Baby. So, let's get into some of the other relationships, shall we? Because the telltale signs are there. I'm just going to use this one article. It doesn't go in depth with each relationship like I did with Winona. But it's okay because there's the telltale signs that he is trying to convince this woman to do anything and do his bidding, okay? The first one is Jennifer Grey. There's very little known about the relationship, but the pair was rumored to be engaged before they split after a year. So another quick engagement, which seems to be his tactic. Sherilyn Fenn, had met her on the set of a student film, Dummies. If you look carefully, you'll see Sherilyn's name scrawled across Johnny's helmet in the platoon. But the romantic gestures and engagement ring weren't enough, and they split after 3.5 years. Okay, and so then that's when he met Winona. He proposed to her and tattooed Winona forever on his arm. And the pair went to separate in 1993. What's up?
I can't find Spidey with his amazing team.
Did you look under your bed?
No.
Go try there.
Okay. You have to follow me first.
I can't. I'm recording. Tali Chanel revealed she also briefly dated the actor. Yep.
Where?
Huh?
Where?
Did you look under your sheets and your covers in your bed? I helped him out of his limo and our eyes locked and he asked me to marry him. With Johnny Depp's track record, it's not really surprising that they didn't make it out to the aisle. But the relationship did consist of lots of nights at his home in Hollywood Hills. He's a homebody. And he kind of just like traps them in there in his house, sounds like. So then, let's see. She said that was, it didn't say the year. Okay. This is in 1993. This is right after him and young lady had broke up. Okay? Winona Ryder, who he claims he has never gotten over. Check this out. He was dating Juliette Lewis for a brief time. And they became engaged. Excuse me? You can't get over Winona? Winona is like the worst breakup you've ever been through. And in the same year, you got engaged to Juliette Lewis? No, that's a tactic. Engagement is a tactic that keeps the woman in there because they're going to get married. You know, that's the prize. So then you got Kate Moss. It just says mid-90s. And I want you to listen to what Kate said of the time. This is what I know is the jackpot. That's what's making me so emotional about this is just I hit the jackpot. I finally have all the answers that I have literally been looking for 20 years. So anyway, there's nobody that's ever really been able to take care of me. Johnny did for a bit. I believe what he said. If I said, what do I do? He'd tell me. And that's what I missed when I left. I really lost that gauge of somebody that I could trust. It was a nightmare. Years and years of crying. Oh, the tears. If I'm not mistaken, Kate Moss ended up on drugs. Let me fact check before I say that. Yep, she did. So, ladies, this is the cause of your problems. He's in your room? No. Did you look under the couch? No. Try there. You're going to?
I did not. Where is Spidey? He could be under somewhere. Maybe he walked. Maybe he did walk there. Maybe he walked out here.
He didn't walk out of here. I'll go check. You acting like this is a Toy Story episode. He didn't walk out of here. He's here. So what it says in the emotional rape article is that the rapist is alluring and extraordinarily caring. He shows so much admiration. So in Kate Moss's vision of her assailant, She was never able to find someone to take care of her in that way. She was extremely depressed. What she's saying here, years and years of crying. What she's saying here is she experienced depression after leaving him. And if we want to go back to the issues in regards to what happens afterwards, it's like rage and obsession, inability to love or trust, loss of self-esteem, confusion, erratic behavior. You know, she went on to use drugs. That's erratic behavior. Winona went on to be a shoplifter, and she's not. None of you are that. I'm just, for demonstration purposes, erratic behavior. So, let's see here. Who else can we talk about? Naomi Campbell, he hooked up with her. I don't think they were in a long-term anything. I meant to watch a little video about Vanessa Paradis. That is who he was married for 14 years. And if I would have watched that little documentary, I would know more about the relationship. I can't make any speculation, not even based off what she says, because everybody has bumpy rides in their marriage, right? So unless I watch the documentary and find out more about her and their relationship, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But based off of what I'm reading here and what I'm seeing of these women, I know that he likely wooed his way into her. So then the last person that they have is Amber Heard.
Aaron here too.
Hi, Aaron. I'm gonna read this one in full. It says Johnny wasn't alone very long after his relationship with Vanessa was confirmed. Oh, excuse me, I read that totally wrong. Did you find him?
No.
Okay, I'll go help you look for him, but let me record this without your heavy breathing on my ear, please. So Johnny wasn't alone very long. Even before his breakup with Vanessa was confirmed, he was romantically linked to his Rum Diaries co-star Amber Heard. Always one for the romantic gestures, Johnny even named a beach on his Bahamas island after her, and they tied the knot in front of just 24 people in the Bahamas in 2015. Speaking on how she got into his head, he previously said, "It was the first day of press on the Rum Diary. Then we married that very day." But they got married legally first in Los Angeles so his mother could attend. And alas, it wasn't meant to be, as Amber filed for divorce from Johnny just after 15 months of marriage. Now, what is that fucking moving quick shit? Again, he's talking about, man, I love at first sight. I married her the first day in my head. Yeah. Nope. Only thing is, she already had pre-pronounced mental illness. Here's what happens. A person who already has pronounced mental illness will be far more aggressive to this behavior. So, she already had issues. All these women already had issues, or they wouldn't have been able to be gotten by him in the first place. Naomi Campbell is known for violence. Jennifer Lewis has body image issues. All these women have something in their veil of consciousness that is their human magnet to a person like Johnny Depp. Period. Okay, but if you already have more severe mental illness and you get with someone like this, oh no, it's a time bomb ticking. Okay, but it's hard for me now that I've done this article. It's hard for me to stay unbiased, because she did do something wrong. But there is nothing like being emotionally assaulted. I don't know. I have Vanessa Paradis pulled up, if that's how you pronounce her name, and Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis. Everything is epic love story, epic love story of all time. That is what the emotional abuser wants you to think about your relationship with him as he's doing subtle abuses. So, I mean, I'm not going to go really in depth with it because there's plenty of people that have videos about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's relationship. Now that you know what I have given you, I want you to go take a look at one of those. I want you to put the emotional rape article up, and I want you to put the subtle abuse article up and see how many times he does it, because he's doing it the entire time. And I know because I've experienced it. I've been through it firsthand. I know exactly what it looks like. And you literally but I'm not the crazy one. You're just sitting here and you're having this stupid ass argument with this person. And you're like, I know I'm not the fucking crazy one. Why the fuck am I even in this shit? How did I get here? What is it that I said or did and like I said, there's a contrast between Winona Ryder and her virginal image and why was I gonna call her Jessica? And Amber Heard's image. They're two different images. So he would be violent with the one that he is not. A matter of fact, time out. Let me go back. Okay. Let me go back to that. Remember I said there's an article that confused me or distracted me. It was actually about Amber Heard. And here's the difference. Johnny Depp got a tattoo that said Winona Forever. But on his knuckles, for Amber Heard, his nickname for her and something that he got for her before they were even on Rocky Riders was Scum. Her nickname was Scum. Are you kidding me? But just the contrast, Winona Forever versus calling your wife Scum as a nickname. Make that make sense? No, there's a very distinct difference in how a narcissist treats people based on how pure they think they are. This is the Madonna whore complex. Basically, only virgins and whole people get treated well. And even their well is still not well, because you see that it left long-lasting effects on some of these women. So that is the end of my 3-part series. That wasn't supposed. I didn't even intend for it to be 3 parts. I didn't intend for it to be 3 parts. That in the last video, you see, I end the video on talking about Johnny Depp, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this, because as I sat here and I started reading about these women, I'm realizing this is what the fuck happened. He is guilty. She is only guilty of reactive abuse. She is not an abuser. This man definitely took hold of her mind, and he spent time working on her until she was the primary abuser. But even in the sound clips that he provides, you can hear the subtle abuse in it. For listening to it, for me, was very triggering. The first time I listened to it, it was triggering as fuck, because I know exactly. It's like talking to you're literally talking to a crazy person. They're doing, look how calm I am. Look, why are you acting like that? I'm so calm and you're not calm. And I'm not going to do this if you don't do this. And all that bullshit. Why would I want to talk to you when you're being I'm acting crazy because you just called me a liar. I already have erratic behavior, and the reason I have this erratic behavior is because you've been assaulting me in my emotional mind for a very long time. So,
long time.
oh, okay. So you need help finding him, huh? You can't find him. Well, this is the end of my video. Say have a good day.
Have a good day.